Have you ever witnessed someone in power go too far, thinking they were untouchable? Well, let me tell you a story from my time in the military that proves no one is above the law, especially when it comes to respecting your fellow soldiers. It all happened on a crisp autumn morning. The air was cool, the sun was just starting to peek over the horizon, and our platoon was lined up for morning drill. The atmosphere was typical, a mix of quiet discipline and the usual grogginess before the first coffee of the day. Our drill sergeant, let's call him Sergeant Miller, was known for being tough. Not just tough, but the kind of old-school fire-breathing drill sergeant you see in movies. He believed that breaking you down was the only way to build you back up. Most of us understood it was part of the process, a game we had to play to become soldiers. But that day, he crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. Among us was a young recruit, a female private named Jessica. She was quiet, diligent, and always gave 110%, even when she was struggling. On this particular morning, Jessica was having trouble with a complex rifle movement. It was a new drill, and the steps were tricky. She fumbled, tried again, and fumbled once more. We could all see the frustration and embarrassment on her face. Sergeant Miller, who seemed to be in a particularly foul mood, zeroed in on her immediately. He stomped over, his voice booming across the parade ground. He yelled, he berated, he insulted her in front of everyone. We all stood frozen, accustomed to his verbal tirades but still uncomfortable. Jessica, bless her heart, kept her composure, her eyes fixed forward, her chin held high, trying her best to follow his increasingly agitated instructions. But her trembling hands betrayed her nervousness. On her next attempt, the rifle slipped from her grasp and clattered onto the pavement. The sound echoed in the sudden silence. It was like a switch flipped in Sergeant Miller. In a flash of pure, uncontrolled rage, he strode forward and with the back of his hand he struck her across the face. The crack of the impact was sickening. Jessica stumbled backward, a bright red mark blooming on her cheek. The entire platoon gasped. Time seemed to stop. We were in complete and utter shock. This wasn't training. This wasn't discipline. This was assault. We were soldiers, a band of brothers and sisters, and he had just attacked one of our own. In that instant, every ounce of respect or fear we had for Sergeant Miller vanished, replaced by cold, hard anger. Jessica didn't cry out. She just stood there, stunned, her hand slowly rising to her face. The silence that followed was heavier than any command Miller had ever shouted. He seemed to realize what he'd done, his face a mixture of shock and a fleeting flicker of panic. But his arrogance quickly returned. He straightened his uniform, puffed out his chest, and was about to roar at her again, probably to get back in line. But he never got the chance. From the edge of the parade ground, another voice cut through the tension. A calm, authoritative voice. "Sergeant Miller, that's enough." We all turned. Standing there was a young captain, the company's executive officer who happened to be jogging past. He must have seen the whole thing. His face was like stone. He walked briskly toward us, his eyes locked on Miller. "What in the hell do you think you're doing?" he asked, his voice low but deadly serious. Miller, suddenly realizing he had a witness with rank, tried to bluster his way out of it. "Sir, the private was insubordinate, failing to follow a direct—" "I saw what you did, Sergeant," the captain cut him off. "There is no excuse. Not now, not ever." "Private," he said, turning to Jessica, his tone softening immediately. "Are you all right?" Jessica just nodded, still in shock. The captain then turned his steely gaze back to Miller. "You will not speak to her. You will not speak to anyone. You will stand right here and you will not move. Do you understand me, Sergeant?" Miller, his face now pale, could only manage a stiff, "Yes, sir." The captain pulled out his phone. We all watched as he made a call. He spoke in a low, urgent tone. We couldn't hear every word, but we heard phrases like physical assault, drill sergeant on private, and "I need you here now." He hung up and stood there, a silent guardian between Miller and the rest of the platoon, a clear signal that the situation was now under his control. What happened next was like something out of a movie. Less than 5 minutes later, I kid you not, it felt like seconds, a black sedan screeched to a halt at the edge of the parade ground. The doors flew open, and out stepped not one, not two, but 4 colonels. 4 full-bird colonels. One was the brigade commander, our highest-ranking officer. Another was the head of the JAG Corps for the base, the top lawyer. The other 2 were from the command staff. Seeing 4 colonels descend on a morning drill was unheard of. It was the military equivalent of the sky falling. They bypassed the captain and marched directly toward Sergeant Miller. They didn't yell. They didn't make a scene. Their movements were precise, cold, and efficient. The brigade commander, a man renowned for his stern but fair leadership, got right in Miller's face. We couldn't hear what was said, but we didn't need to. The commander's expression was thunderous. He pointed a finger at Miller, then gestured toward Jessica, who was now being attended to by a female lieutenant who had arrived with the colonels. The entire exchange lasted maybe 30 seconds. Then, 2 military police officers who had arrived silently behind the colonels stepped forward. They didn't put Miller in cuffs, but their presence was unmistakable. One of the colonels said something, and the MPs formally escorted Sergeant Miller away. He didn't look back. He just walked, his career evaporating with every single step. We never saw him again on that parade ground. We later heard he was court-martialed, stripped of his rank, and dishonorably discharged. His 2 decades of service were erased in under 10 minutes because of one moment of unforgivable violence. The brigade commander then addressed the platoon. He apologized to Jessica personally, and then to all of us for what we had witnessed. He assured us that this was not what the Army stands for, that leadership is about trust and respect, not fear and abuse. He promised that Jessica would be supported and that justice would be absolute. And it was. That day taught me a powerful lesson. Rank and authority are not a license to abuse others. In a system built on integrity and honor, the system will and must police itself. Seeing those 4 colonels arrive so swiftly showed us that no matter how small you feel as a private, the institution has your back when a fundamental line is crossed. It was a stark reminder that true strength lies in discipline and character, not in anger and violence. It's a story I'll never forget, a clear demonstration of justice served, swift and decisive. Thanks for listening to my story today. It's experiences like these that shape us. If you found this story compelling, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more stories from my time in the service. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever seen someone in power face immediate consequences? Let's talk about it. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.